Hi, and welcome to the AWS Ambassador channel. My name is Nestor Gandara, and I get to help companies build businesses in the cloud using AWS technology. Each episode, I will introduce you to a new AWS ambassador to know what does an AWS Ambassadors Days look like and what they do to help our community and their company and customers. So let's get started. Today, I'm excited to introduce Brett Gillett, CEO and founder of Curious Orbit. Hi, Brett. How are you, man?
Hey, Nestor. I'm good. Thanks for having me.
Thank you. So it's my pleasure, by the way. Please tell us a bit about yourself and what does your day look like?
Sure. So I'm a big sports fan, and my typical day would start by watching some sports highlights just to catch up, the highlights from the night before. I usually get up pretty early in the morning, so I figure starting my day with 30 minutes of sports highlights is okay. And generally, when those sports highlights are running in the background, I start prioritizing my day. Generally, I would say customer issues are at the top of that list, followed closely by non-technical activities that we want to do, like content generation and things like that. Typically, I'm at my desk by about 8:30, and I start working on those highest priority items. I would say most days I'm managing to get through a few of those kind of first early burning issues before the new fires start up for that day, and those will typically derail those well-laid plans that I worked on earlier in the morning. But I don't mind because it keeps things interesting and exciting. One thing I will say is, though, I do work really hard to protect my lunch hour, and I make sure that I get some time away from the computer. Now that the nice weather is back, or kind of back, we'll start getting out into the neighborhood a little bit more, walking around and seeing some things. And I would say I do have to get sort of back into some type of an exercise routine, but I think that can wait at least one more week, right?
Yeah, it seems like a really morning full of things and new challenges where you can't get bored. Um, but how is the rest of your day?
What I try to do in my afternoons is I switch gears and I work really hard to concentrate on non-technical things. We are a small shop, which means all of us wear a lot of different hats. So I like to spend my afternoon working on building things like brand awareness, looking for new opportunities for helping us to grow the business. And I do try to be, again, pretty rigid with when I finish my day. Usually I'm finishing up by about 4:30, 5 o'clock. And what I normally do, and yeah, this is a little embarrassing to admit, but I usually end every single day by looking at the AWS news page. I'm always
Mhm.
interested in seeing what's changed on the platform. And really, it's important for us because I like to make sure that if we have a particular customer working on something, and we have an article, a news release there, it's a great way to stay connected with those customers. So after reading that news page, I walk away from the computer. I enjoy some downtime, catch up with my wife. And right now, we're watching a great series called Fringe. And if you're into X Files, you should definitely check that out. You'll really like it. After that, in the evenings, I generally flick on some sports. Right. So right now, I'm a suffering Leaf fan, and we're watching the baseball team. So go Jays! And while that's in the background, I work on some content. And then usually I try to finish my day up by about 10 o'clock. I am a person that wakes up early, so I like to make sure that I'm in bed at a reasonable amount of time. And I usually end my days with a little sort of fiction reading. And I'm working on a new series right now. I'm going to mispronounce this person's name. I'm going to say it's Adrian Tchaikovsky. And it's a really great series of books. The first book's called Children of Time. And if you're into any sort of sci-fi, I definitely recommend checking it out. It's a great series of books.
Awesome. I will try to watch it. I really love X-File, by the way. And Brett, I would like to know what kind of activities do you typically engage in as an AWS ambassador, and how do you balance your time between these activities and your regular work responsibilities or duties?
Yeah, I'm typically working on different types of AWS related content if I'm not working on a customer, problem or environment, or running an AWS training class. Generally, we're working on sort of video content, or what I'll call medium form or medium length blog content. And balance is tough, right? So the way I like to try to balance my time is, and I'm going to mess this word up again, is I like to use the Pomodoro technique to help me manage my time and sort of force me to get up from my desk and do something else. Like even a quick walk around the neighborhood or something like that is a great way, maybe just to reset if you're stuck on a problem or something. So that's kind of how I'm working on content and balancing out my day.
Okay. So, well, balance, yeah, could be sometimes tough. It's true. I agree. I agree with that. I use the Pomodoro technique as well when I'm doing specific activities. But what I do is something different. I try to customize the timing depending of the activity, because for if I know wrong, the Pomodoro technique, I guess is 25 minutes. And you get the notification, the alarm, and you have like 5 minutes break. But what I do is, depending on the activity, I do 25 minutes, 30, 35, depending of which is the specific activity. And once the time is over, um, I take the break, just walk or refilling my bottle of water, or just I grab a coffee, right? And after the break, I switch to another activity. I always try to switch to another activity to, I would say, to keep my motivation up. I love this kind of mechanisms to improve our time management. I believe each of us is different, so these mechanisms or good practices are good as a guide, right? And we should customize for us. Okay, Brett, what steps can a CIO like you take to become a strong role model for your employees and stakeholders? And how can this positively impact the company's culture that is important and also your success?
Yeah, it's a really good question. I think, as cliche as it's going to sound, this comes down to leading by example, right? And I think in this particular instance, though, even though that is cliche, it's really applicable to kind of how you can kind of set culture. I work on support tickets. I lead customer deployments. I'm engaged in helping building out services and products that we take to market and offer to our customers. And I think, from an employee's perspective, I'd like to think that it demonstrates that what we're trying to build here is a hands-on consulting shop with deep technical expertise on AWS. And I really do believe that it's important for us to have that culture of continuous learning on AWS because it's such a big platform. It changes so dramatically. So that's kind of one of the things that I work really hard on. And also selfishly from my side, it does sort of, by remaining hands-on, help me stay current. And as I mentioned already, with AWS being so huge and it changing so fast, I find that if I'm not sort of staying involved in the day-to-day work and keeping my hands on things, that my skills will fall behind really quickly. So those are kind of a couple simple things that I do on a regular basis.
All right. I like it. My last question, okay? It's I always ask the same question at the end of the session. Nothing related to about all what we discussed. What is your favorite AWS services and why?
Yeah, so I would say my favorite AWS service would have to be CloudFormation. We've been writing CloudFormation templates for so long now. Everything we do is infrastructure as code, and as CloudFormation just never lets us down. So I'm going to go with CloudFormation.
Awesome. All right, Brett. I enjoyed a lot of conversation. I think leading by example is one of my favorite takeaways from that. And now I believe also people can know you better and what an IT leader, an AWS ambassador like you does for our community and companies. Thank you very much and see you soon, buddy.
Yeah, thanks, Esther. It's been a lot of fun. Take care.